which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, number 3, roll call shows everyone is in attendance. Jane is excused and Lauren is taking the minutes. 4, agenda changes. Are there any?
I to be removed.
Okay, we will remove I. Anything else? Okay. 5, consent agenda. A, March 3rd, 2022 regular board meeting minutes. B, licenses and permits. There are none. C, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. If there are no questions, I would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll
Third.
second it.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. There are none. 7, committee reports. There are none. 8, unfinished business from previous meeting. There's none. 9, new business. A, discussion and possible action on R-6-22 SCS Developer Incentive Loan.
So this is the final payment towards the Swiderski project. They had met their 40 unit occupation. So basically at this point, we kicks in our second payment to them.
What was the first payment? Same?
Same.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve R-6-22. Resolution approving TID 4 loan.
I'll second.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. B, discussion and possible action on potential sale of the 2016 police squad.
So we got our replacement squad, and then we took the details off of the old 2016 squad. At this point, the idea is to potentially sell it, and we were offered through the Ford dealership of $10,000, and I don't think we want to turn it in for that. So we want to list it ourselves for 15. I think for 10 grand, it would probably be better in the admin office for use. But if we can get 15 out of it, it's probably better that way. So,
Okay, do you need a motion?
Is that what the blue book is on?
How many miles are
92,000.
92.
So did you look it up? Is that what the?
We looked up comparables. I didn't do a blue book yet on it, but the comparables, and depending on where you're living, I guess some are at 102,000, some are at 15 to 20. It really depends of the same type of police vehicle that we had. So
I would suggest looking up the value of it before just listing
Right.
it for an arbitrary number. I mean, if it's worth more than that, list it for more.
right.
And vehicles are going for a ridiculous price right now, and there's no reason to sell it for thousands under what it's worth, just so because we want to
That's
make
why-
5 more than what they offer.
That's kind of
We
minimum.
right.
Minimum
Okay.
of 15.
That's what I was saying. Well, yeah, we could blue book it, but I think if there's a sweet number in between where it becomes almost less beneficial to us to sell it rather than keep it as an administration vehicle for basically running around as well, for our building inspector, our clerk, myself, any other trainings we have. But if we can get more for it, that's the point, rather than selling it for 10. So,
Hard to find a vehicle right now.
Okay, so I'm confused. Are you gonna look it up and see, or?
yeah,
Okay,
Well,
okay, that just
right, but it's,
walked around us in a circle somewhere. And
sorry.
it seemed like it went back to we're just gonna list it for 15 because
No,
if
no,
some other
no,
number
no,
is not
no.
gonna be good. for
Sorry,
us.
sorry about that. I was
That's
just
gonna be
saying,
our bottom line, 15,000.
Okay,
I mean, at 15,000, he's saying it makes more sense to just keep it kind of, you know, if it's less than,
depending close, well,
yeah, I mean,
We
there's a
aren't
sweet.
gonna worry about a buck, but
yeah, okay,
so,
2,000.
but yeah, all right, look it up and, I'm okay with it.
Do you need a motion or just a head nod?
Just a nod.
I think a motion to sell the vehicle, I guess. If you wanna do it based on the Blue Book price or what?
The administrator's discretion. I think that's fair, I don't.
Put a no less on it.
I mean, I think it,
What do you think's bottom line? 15?
Well, I guess I wouldn't really wanna state that.
Oh.
Yeah, it would get,
For
somebody comes in at
anyone who's listening,
14.5.
just, I don't know. So I think no matter what, it would probably come back to the board anyway. Cause most people wanna deal it down, so I think we'd look at the Blue Book price.
360, yeah, it doesn't
All
take
right,
long to look it up.
look
It's
it
what,
up.
an Explorer? What is it?
Explorer,
Interceptor,
yeah.
Interceptor,
Interceptor, yeah.
Explorer Interceptor.
What's that got for an engine?
3.6, I believe it is, it's a 6
And
cylinder.
it, 91,000? Seriously?
92,
Makes
92,365. To be specific. I see that. Oh, I took it around the block, so. Might have a couple more.
I don't have that Interceptor one.
No, I don't. 20K.
Jesus Christ, how much crap do you have to have?
A lot.
What does the color matter?
It's
Black.
black.
Maybe one
Black.
of those purple
Yeah.
one is trying to.
Well, if it was white. It's
White.
Blizzard pearl.
So if we did keep
That's
it,
an upgrade.
then you would sell the vehicle you're running around now with?
No,
No,
No.
no.
basically,
Keep them both?
yeah,
Oh.
the use, Craig's basically using that one most of the time.
So the lowest end, the base model Explorer at that age, so not the Interceptor, just the base model, and I didn't know the color, I went too fast, but it's a darker color, I picked it, is right around 14.6 to 16.7. You know, so, so based on that, you're probably gonna be looking at over 15.
Mhm.
Maybe,
Maybe.
just because the police models don't necessarily have the interior features,
Okay,
Yeah.
but,
well, I picked the lowest end model, the Blue Book.
right. I'm fine with posting it for whatever, so.
Okay,
Can't get any lower than what's in them vehicles. Of
So
the
where does
interior.
that money go then?
Then it would go, well, basically back into the general fund or the CIP,
Okay.
so. We'd usually put it in our CIP for future project use.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to allow the administrator to explore and the sale of the 2016 police squad based on market value.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. C, discussion and possible action on TID 6 creation, contract with Ellers.
This is something that I kind of put together. There's a report in the packet that goes through part of our current issue. So TID 3 basically is ending in 2034, which could potentially have a 3-year extension. If we get a developer in the north part of the TID up here, right there. Basically, the income that would generate for us would be estimated at a total of 1.5 million over that time period. So rather than doing that, the suggestion is to create another overlay district that goes over TID 3 to take that parcel as is today and add it in. So basically Basically, you kind of have that parcel there, comes down, attaches to this parcel here, comes down over here, takes these parcels away from TID 3 as well, adds these in, grabs these, which also has another open parcel there, grabs two open parcels here, grabs part of our park over here, and part of that new parcel that will be developed in 2023 or so. So that would add that all in, and then we also have B&H lighting and the bank, plus all the way to Dairy Queen, we would add in to that new TID creation. Basically what that does is it stops the tax rate as of today. So whatever the assessed value is as of this year, basically anything increasing above that assessed value would go into our TID. So, and it would be able to be to 2051 with an extension potential to 2054. So then if we got that same subdivision in that same location, we would end up having in as tax income around 4.6 million. That doesn't include any developer incentives for that property, neither did the other estimate either. So the idea is if we can get someone into that subdivision, that it would make more sense to create this TID 6 in order to benefit it. TID 3 would be fine as is. Right now, if we stopped everything in TID 3, we would end with a $200,000 positive. That will probably be spent actually on the cul-de-sac on the end of Town Drive by Gilbert's, which is about a $200,000 project expenditure. So the TID would then be null and void after that.
So
Nathan,
you would
what-
close out TID 3 then?
It would get, TID 3 would close out itself in 2034.
You don't include.
And there's no conflict with pulling all the stuff out of that, like we ran into with the other stuff where we pulled things out and changed the percentages?
So that's part of this calculation is made with those percentages in mind. This percentage would allow for residential in that location, which is about 18 acres up there, and it would also allow for potential residential in here of 13 acres. Not saying that would be the case with that area, it might be something else, but it allows for that potential if we want to add also another zone.
what
So-
are they currently zoned right now?
Okay, so this one up here is R1, which is single family residential. The state one, I believe, is still agricultural. Mary Murphy's lot here is ag. This is ag as well, and then it switches to commercial, 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 residential, 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 it's either that one I believe is either residential or conservancy.
That's the part. That's the.
No, that's.
Well, no, that's the land up next to the park.
Yeah, by,
Yeah, it's the
that,
autos. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there's some more commercial. Then obviously Quick Trip is commercial for the Pates property up here. Then we have commercial for the dentist, commercial for all of this. So this is the Dairy Queen.
So an R1 would mean single family there, and I guess if we ever were approached for an R2, then would that change?
The percentages,
Yeah.
it depends on, so if any of the other properties, basically you can't have over the 35% threshold.
Yeah.
So with the top property, you could add about 13 acres extra of residential. It doesn't matter where, but you
Okay.
couldn't go over that without being in violation. Unless you wanted to add on parcels at that point.
So it was like, but if it was for whatever reason multifamily versus single family,
There's no difference between them.
it doesn't do any
Right,
percentage.
it's just it's newly platted residential.
Okay,
The other thing with this, it'll probably put so you can have up to 12% of your equalized value in TIDs in total. This would put us at closer around 9%. So that does give us a little more room too in the future if there is something else that pops up, like a large plot of land that we could buy potentially for industrial purposes as well. So that's why we didn't grab more potential development space, so.
so if we choose to do this, that's what you're bringing before us tonight, is
This
to
is
look at this.
basically
Ellers.
tonight, we're doing the contract for Ellers to basically come. They would basically verify all of my plans that I've looked at, look at that, and then they would present basically the TID at a future time for the actual creation of the TID.
Okay,
This is just for the approval of the contract to allow Ellers to work with me on doing the background stuff and getting all the documents that's needed to prepare this.
So what are the advantages of putting residential into a TID?
You collect all of the income generated from that house. So each house, in most of these subdivisions that we're selling now, is $300,000. We would collect all of that income. So last year, we had 18.25 as our assessed value, or as our rate. So basically, you take 300 times 18.25, that's how much we're gonna generate per household estimated, based on this year's tax rate. So that's why it's beneficial. Basically, the development can fit about 34 houses in there, which would be equal to about 10.25 million. Or 10.2 million, sorry. Yep. So that's why residential, the issue is getting residential in is really beneficial. It's just the state doesn't look highly on it, neither does the county. But,
Because they lose.
well, no, I think there's other issues with it. It's just, the issue is you have a housing issue right now, and they're trying to figure out ways around doing things like this to basically boost the housing stock. But this is how most, a lot of municipalities end up doing it.
if we were to create this, this has to go through joint review, right?
Right.
Which
Goes
is
through
school
joint
district,
review board,
county.
and it goes through the village board still another time, so I have to go and present to the finance committee in Oregon County, which they're gonna,
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. but this would allow, that generation of extra income would allow us to basically add in the projects we want over in town and Oak, which basically came in at 1.25 million, because the prices of streets are becoming astronomical right now. So, I don't know if we would be able to do town and Oak unless we get a grant at this point, which was our next streets that we were gonna do next year. So, we could add that in. You can add in some of the projects that weren't actually finished, like the finishing of Kelly Way up on the north side. And you can add in parts of the park for the utilities, for the well house, and also the utility connection potentially in 2024 that goes towards our 15 reconstruct. So there's a lot more projects that you can add in when we create our TID that we had, and some new ones that we didn't have in there. So,
So the idea is to make it developable, right, for residential. Is there any interest somewhere that has come forward prior to this?
yeah.
Okay.
I've been working, so currently I've been working with 3 different developers in different areas on potential subdivisions. This is just one of them. He's interested in it, so basically I'd contact him too to make sure he wants to move forward on it. We'd have to do a developer's agreement and everything after the TID is created, but basically, even if he doesn't if that falls through, you still have basically the other thing that's coming in is that other one across the street from B&H Lighting over there that we approved with the, that's going through the state process right now. So that would be in the new TID. That would generate a total around 300,000. So it's a nice start, but you still have a lot of potential land there. It's still beneficial to basically pull it away from that other TID. So I think at this point, going forward, we'd go through, get this started with Ellers, and contact the developer, let him know where he's at, talk to him. If he ends up wanting to not do the deal, we can always talk to one of the other developers I'm talking to as well.
What is the downside to creating the TID and putting all the stuff into that TID?
Potentially, if basically a developer came in and just bought the land and did it themselves, you're basically, I mean, it's not really hindering us per se, but usually you're incentivizing. So that's pretty much the downfall, that you don't really have. I guess I really wouldn't even consider it a downfall, because you're still collecting 100% of the tax money. In my opinion, if we could have it all in a TID, that'd be great. Then the county doesn't get anything and we get it all. But
I'm thinking more, so I'm not
Right.
I know enough about TIDs that I don't like TIDs. I don't like to know about TIDs, but it's not that I don't like TIDs, but like with the TID with the development that we have, where where it restricts us with what we can do once that's been created, and then we made changes, and now this is where some of this
Right,
money
so-
some of this money we had to pay came from, because we pulled stuff out of that TID. That was the reference for my first question. You're pulling all this space out of TID 3.
I'm not. We're overlaying it.
You're just overlaying.
We're
So that-
overlaying. So
okay.
we're not going through and removing it from TID 3. Basically, if you do an overlay, it's a snapshot as of 2022. So whatever the TID is,
It makes a point in time.
right. So
Right.
basically,
So what it is at this point in time goes to TID 3, anything after that is,
well, of the parcels that we're grabbing. So
The
TID
duplicate
3
parcels.
still has some parcels like by Gilbert's here.
That,
These two parcels that we bought with Gilbert's, that would stay in TID 3, so if a development came in there, it wouldn't affect TID 6 at all. The only ones that would affect it are basically this top one here, and then these in here are all part of TID 3. So TID 3 would be pretty much, it would just sit and then generate its money until it paid back all of its loans for Grandview, for Gilbert, everything else for this
but
building.
once we made it as a 6, then it would be anything after this point would go towards 6 versus 3.
On those parts,
On those only.
yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Any
I'm just
other
concerned
questions?
if there's something that we're not seeing, that we get boxed into a corner
The
somewhere.
only way you'd be boxed into a corner
Yep.
is if you randomly had a bunch of people wanting to do residential housing in like here, here. If everything was trying to go up residential, that would box us into a corner where we couldn't do it. So because of that 35% threshold, you could potentially do it by adding in parcels, but you still gotta be
Because you
further
have to
away.
adjust the percentages. at that
Right,
point.
but then at that point, you're getting closer to
The
that 12%.
So then you might have to change things around to make
Right.
it work.
Yeah,
And that 9% is the fixed point where the TID is created, not the increased value as it's developed.
Correct.
Okay.
any other questions? Otherwise, we would need a motion.
So what you're looking for tonight is a motion for a total approving 15,500. Is this how I'm reading this?
Just approving, approving the contract. Some of the fees can be charged to the TID if it's created. So, other than the first fee, I think on there, the rest of it, the second fee on that listing is the one that can be charged to the TID itself, according to Ellers.
So what needs to be in the motion this evening?
Just motion to approve the contract for the development of TID 6.
And we don't need to put an amount in there? It's over 5,000, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put an amount in there, you can.
And phase 1 is 6,000?
Phase 1, 6,000, 2,000 is phase 3, that's for our submittals. The 7,500 is the one just created.
trying to kill two birds with one stone here, it's over 5,000, so.
Well, yeah, just, you can do an approval for the contract with Ellers. up
For the
to-
whole amount.
For the total amount of 15,500.
Yeah, and that's, yeah,
Yeah, I can do it.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve a creation of a contract with Ellers for a possible TID 6, not to exceed the amount of 15,500.
I'll second.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. D, discussion and possible action, downtown block discussion and placement.
So the downtown clock is broken. It doesn't work. The parts,
Yeah.
we can get the parts from the maker, it's 2,800. And then another 1,500, I believe, for the labor. This is what it looks like, it's green.
It's a Schneider feed and seat on it, I think, right?
Yeah.
It's donated by the Schneiders.
It's the
It's-
one right on, by the parking, where the park,
It's hard to see
it's
from
on
the
a post.
location that it's in. So I think, my thought is if you want to move forward and continue and maintaining the clock, the suggestion is to move it in front of the Opera House where it'll be more visible.
Aren't we going to upgrade the whole downtown area?
Right.
Why wouldn't we do it then?
Because it's broken now. That's
Everybody's
what-
got a phone, they can see what time it is.
It's right place today.
Is it,
If it's
Is
sat
it-
idle until we did the downtown, and we came up with, and we. and
I
we-
just leave it for
Yeah,
now.
just leave it. And I thought about this after I asked you about the agenda item, but I mean, leave it, and then when we do develop that downtown, and maybe the Opera House isn't the right place for it, maybe there is a little bit different area that might be more appropriate.
Pocket park. I would suggest we just leave it.
So we put it by the water fountain.
it's already right twice a
Yeah.
day?
So we're aware that the repair is needed, and we can plan ahead for it.
If everything can be funded through donation, do we want to move ahead with fixing it, painting it, and moving it?
Oh,
Well, can we paint it and fix it and not necessarily move it quite yet? And
Because
still
we
do
don't know where we
Well-
potentially are going to move it.
We'll have to actually pull it down. In order to
The
paint it,
reason
we'll
we
have to
didn't-
remove it.
We don't want to have to
and
move it
stuff.
after they have fixed it, because we don't want it to break again in the process, and then have these
That's
people
The other issue,
come from
Ohio.
Ohio, so.
so you're saying there's a possibility this could be funded by donations? Is that what you're saying?
Potentially, I don't know, but there's been,
It was donated originally
I know.
by the
I know.
Schneiders.
so.
Yeah.
If it's funded through donation, I think if you're gonna have them come out to repair it, I would have them move it and set it, so that it's
But
not.
not time.
But you want it in front of the Opera House?
I mean, that was that was my idea with it. We can still discuss location, I don't care, I'm not set on it, it's just,
I drove through there today, and I
I feel like it'll get lost there.
I think it gets lost, and
It's
there's
too
not a lot
busy
of.
right there,
yeah.
I think. To be honest, I think it gets lost, I mean, apparently it's lost where it is.
Well,
but it's
never
lost.
even
I
knew it
grew up in this
existed.
town and I'm going, what clock?
Now, see, I
So
know
I
exactly
said
where it
to-
is, because I walk by it every
Put it on the
day,
corner
but,
by the pole.
yeah, it's, that's what I said.
Yeah,
By
that's
the
what I was
fountain,
thinking.
in
That's
the
what I'm
little
thinking,
corner.
Memorial Square.
You know where that tree is in the fountain area there? As that gets bigger, it's gonna hide that whole area. Why don't we take that tree out and just put that clock there?
Yeah, perfect place for
Tree
it.
town.
Well, I just
And
think
nice
that,
having shades in.
I like the idea of the Opera House, but I actually drove through today and went, I don't know.
There isn't enough room there.
No.
There's no room.
And it's not
Put by
not
Veterans
visible,
Park,
it's
then
not
people go to
that,
the park to check the time.
there is room right next to the on the sidewalk on the entrance.
yeah, no.
Wherever you guys want to put it, I really don't care. It
I think
was a
Memorial
question that came up from
Square-
staff,
Square-
so I'm
Actually,
giving
really like
giving
where
an
it is,
answer.
but.
Okay,
I
so
don't know.
Yeah, I just.
what, do you want a motion?
Yeah,
Okay,
whatever you
I'm
want.
gonna make a motion that you proceed to get the clock repaired, and look for the potential to move it to the water park, only if you can get donations to fund it.
The water park?
He's talking about
Well,
the
I'm
corner.
gonna-
there.
Memorial
the
Square.
corner.
Memorial Square.
Memorial Square.
Okay.
But only if you can get
We do that
donations to fund
Otherwise,
it.
wait until the downtown.
Otherwise, wait until the downtown is
I'll second.
redone.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Sounds good. Did you get it, Lauren?
Got all that?
No, that's not a separate
Do you know
motion,
where the
that's
water
part of the
card
first.
Yeah, it's all the same
You got
motion.
that?
Get that, Lauren?
Who seconded it?
Jack did.
Okay.
Yeah, there
All
you
in
go.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Drive by there tonight.
Okay, E, discussion and possible action on wastewater treatment plant and water SCADA system upgrade.
Okay, in front of you, is the proposal, kind of what you guys had requested from the last time here, kind of a breakdown of the computer software and then obviously the labor that's involved in it. The difference when you look at 11,850 to 13,1 is pretty much in the labor. Also, we had talked about warranty and that there is manufacturer warranty on the computer stuff. And if there's any issues within the software, that Energetics will be covering that. If it's 3 years down the road, no, that'll be a different story, because atypically it'll be something else wrong versus the software at that time.
What's the lead time on this computer? Computers have a ridiculous lead time right now.
He was all over the board on that one. They do have some in stock. They do have some there.
Should we be asking for Windows 11?
No.
Is it bad?
No.
It's too early.
Yep.
They're still having problems.
This is the company you prefer, and you went back to get a breakdown.
This is a
From our
sole
last
source.
discussion.
Yes, this is a sole source. We have Energetics in there. This is their
Right.
system
Mhm.
already. So this is just upgrading of the existing system. Yes.
So how long is the support for? Did I miss it? You said it's not 3 years, but
That's the equipment was 3 years, right? I heard software. The software and the,
The software, you know, if we have an issue with the software in 3 years, it's probably gonna be something else besides the software itself.
but it,
okay.
The computer equipment, who knows?
Well, the
It's
computer
gonna- 1 year.
it's usually 2. Ours are 2.
What's that?
A computer,
Well, Lenovo warranties the
two.
computer. It's typically a year to,
Yeah.
they're
ours
almost all,
is 2, right?
they're almost 9 months to a year. to-
Yeah, it's a manufacturer's warranty on all devices. So
I don't know whatever
whatever
that
that might
years.
be.
Okay, you get a good deal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you want him to go back and request it to you?
Well, I mean, I'm not a fan of Lenovo's, but
I don't.
Yeah.
whatever.
Not,
I think we
not
need to
especially
close
not
this out tonight.
1800.
And neither does Craig. So you need a motion to accept the agreement proposal for Energetics in the amount of,
And
not to exceed $13,100.
correct.
Okay, that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call. Peter?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. F, discussion and possible action on the effluent pump repair.
All right, update as of today. And I forgot to get you the other part of the quote, apologize for that. We have 3 effluent pumps. Last year, we repaired number 1 and failure of number 3 pump, which we were anticipating on doing number 2 pump this year. But number 3 pump failed on us. So, after inspection and that Crane Engineering had came back to, and I just received an updated quote on repair of this, not for $10,346, but an additional $4,100, $4,141, because of all the wear parts, impeller, the bowl rings, this registered fit kit, and things like that. It came to $4,141. So I apologize for that. I can show you this, I can pass this around. So it would be in addition to this amount up here. We're looking at $14,487.
great.
Yes.
But the quote, you have two quotes here, don't you?
No,
Am I not?
Just
No.
Crane Engineering quote.
just Crane Engineering,
The one before was error on my part. That's
Oh.
the diffuser.
Oh, I see.
That's the
Okay.
next thing.
that'd be the next on the list, yeah, it's a diffuser. So, yes, unfortunately, major wear on this. Unfortunately, we have to put a little bit more money into this pump.
Okay,
A new pump right now is closer to 30,000, anywhere from $26,000 to $30,000 for a new pump.
I see in Crane's quote, it expires February 10th. Does,
We're still honoring it.
they'll honor that, but this additional funds here are for other parts that, what? Because of this failure they found?
Yes, that's, after inspection, they found, I have photos of it, and if you guys ever wanna see that stuff, I have photos of actually this pump failing, and where it's failed, the rings and everything too, so.
It's an effluent pump, right?
It's an effluent
I don't
pump,
think
correct?
you wanna bring it in here.
Are you sure? I got pictures I can bring in for you. So, yes, we're looking at $14,487.
$14,487.
I'll make a motion to accept the quote from Crane Engineering to repair the effluent pump with the additional parts needed because of a recent failure in the amount of $14,487.
Plus tax and shipping.
Plus what?
Tax and shipping. That's not included.
Taxes,
we're
we
tax-
Tax
don't
are
have,
exempt, but shipping.
yeah,
Plus-
shipping potential, so.
Plus freight costs.
Okay,
Okay?
we need a second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. G, discussion and possible action, wastewater treatment plant SBR diffuser replacement.
All right, in your packet is a quote for what they call diffusers. There's two SBR basins, and in these basins are these diffusers. And basically what that does is it creates bubbles for the system. We are looking at, every 5 years, you are supposed to drain it down, check the diffusers, and whatnot. We have not done that.
Ever?
Correct. So what we're seeing is these diffusers, we have erratic bubbles, bubbling, however you want to look at it, within the SBR basins. So we need to bring that back under control. We are looking at, obviously, emptying the tanks at some point here. And during that time, then we can look at our diffusers, replace our diffusers that are needed.
So is
It's
this
about,
worst case scenario for, like, the quantity
this is
or?
yes, this is the worst case scenario. This is actually for both basins, because we're looking at doing both basins here. Some are repairable, and some of them may not be repairable. So we're being on the,
Conservative.
proactive side, just in case they're all bad, that we would be able to replace all of them at one time. We cannot have the SBR basin down for, one SBR basin down for more than a week. So this is one of them things, all hands on deck, get it done, and complete this within a week. So it's really important in this system. So, yeah, we're looking at about 12 to 14 weeks right now for the diffusers, once they're ordered.
So you're gonna order them, or you're gonna, so how you gonna know what you need? Are you gonna order them and then find out what you need?
No, these diffusers here, this quote is for what we have existing within the system. So
Okay.
we have specifications and whatever else. So this quote reflects what we have existing within our basins.
Yeah.
But he's saying you're not gonna,
We're not
eventually
gonna
you're not gonna
return
install
them,
all
we're
of
gonna
them.
keep
No.
them
Keep them in
for-
stock inventory for
Well,
replacement.
we're gonna have to, yes.
So he gonna order the full load either way, may or may not replace all of them. and keep the
Because
existing.
in 5 years,
Gotta do it again.
again, we may have to do that, or if we see, an issue within the next 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, whenever the next time we do this,
Okay.
that we'll have them on hand.
So you're telling me when you see rogue bubbles, you, you know you have a problem?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
For inconsistent bubbles.
Number one
Yeah.
basin,
You know, like
is
one-
very, yeah. Number
Okay.
one basin's pretty bad.
So your total here is 14,579?
Yeah.
Doesn't need the thing for it? Doesn't need things? Do you need the thing at the bottom too? The addition,
The
available
option.
option?
No.
User run.
No.
That's an option.
Nylon diffuser connecting rods. As of right now, no. None of them don't appear to be broke, I guess you would say.
12 to 16 weeks.
I know. Everything is such a huge delay right now.
Yeah. China.
And this is something you can store if you decide you don't need it. It's not gonna,
Die and shelf?
it's not gonna
Oh,
die on
yeah,
the
no
shelf.
shelf life? There's no shelf life for it.
It's not like the size of a school bus or something.
No, no. We got little heads that are like this. No, we have room for it.
Man, I'm out.
Okay.
We will need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from Aqua Aerobic Systems, Inc. for diffuser assemblies, JetFlex diffuser assembly in the amount of $14,579.25.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, we will have H, discussion and possible action, vehicle storage garage door replacement.
Okay, another item, here, it's our brown, storage building where we keep our vehicles down there at the wastewater plant. We are constantly working on our door, and it's a door that we open and close every day, and we're doing it manually. So we're raising and lowering physically this door. It was damaged in 2014, some repairs were done to it, with the storm. The one was replaced, the one door was replaced, but that one wasn't. So I questioned it. Irregardless, every week we are taking off rollers, we're doing things are starting to shift and the springs are getting shot. So what I'm doing here is we're getting a price on what these doors cost, replacement of the whole entire door. And also putting an electric operator in there. If power goes out, yeah, obviously you can just open the door then, and get into it, get our vehicles out at the time. So I have 3 quotes, Easy Glide, Tri-County, and Advantage overhead door. Easy Glide, $3,675, Tri-County, $4,445, Advantage overhead door, $5,365. And my motion would be to go with, and my recommendation would be to go with Easy Glide for that $3,675.
And it's just the one door?
Just the one door.
Okay.
Correct. It is a non-insulated door also. It's non-insulated building.
Is there any significant difference between the doors you're quoting?
From what I see? No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think it might be more so on the labor where you're seeing the biggest difference in all of it.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the Easy Glide doors for the door replacement in the amount of $3,675.
I'll second.
Roll call, Peter.
Just got that. Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. I has been removed, so we will go to J. Any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Anyone? Okay, we will move to 10, report of village officials. A, clerk treasurer Jane. Does,
Her report's in the packet.
her report is in the packet. Are there any questions for anyone? Okay, we will move to B, director of public works. Craig?
All right, my report's also in the packet here. A couple things I want to touch on here. Wastewater treatment plant. Given what we are seeing here lately, and especially the amount of money that is being spent on our wastewater plant, Nathan and I had talked about this, and we're gonna proceed with our engineer, McMahon, into coming up with what I would say more like a CIP program for replacement and maintenance or repair of our wastewater plant. It seems like things are creeping up and we are on the backside of not being proactive in our maintenance. We need to know prior to our budget what we potentially may expect for next year. So we're gonna charge the engineer to give us kind of a detailed report for pumps. You know, how many hours can we put on these pumps, when we have to replace them, repair them, whatever it might be. Looking at our basins. We are supposed to be doing this every 5 years.
So coming up with a maintenance schedule so that you can
Maintenance
budget
schedule, everything,
based
correct.
on.
Be it whatever time of year it is, be it winter, we're gonna do this during the winter time, or in summer, we're gonna be doing this. We need to get this, you know, into perspective for us. New operators, obviously down at the plant, myself being new, we need to lock this in. This is part of the bigger picture that we have to do for a report for the DNR next year. What is our goal? What are we gonna have to do to meet requirements by 2027? All right, so this is kind of the beginning of that final report that will be done to the DNR. And also, it's gonna be a great tool for us to follow and to ensure we are doing things when we should be doing things, you know, so on and so forth. For us planning, dollars, you know, especially budgeting. It's hard enough with how our budget is with the water, wastewater, and how that's set up, and that we need to kind of lock this in a little bit more, so we can, you know, be proactive on it. So, I just wanted to let you guys know that we're gonna do something here different, and you guys will be privy to this report. I'll make sure that once it is completed, you guys will be able to see this, and, you know, I'd like, you know, once the report's done, I would really like to take you down, you know, spend some time individually or even as a group, come down there and we can explain things a little bit more. So when it does come to, you know, some of the stuff, you guys know what's going on. So I think that's extremely important.
Can I ask a question, Craig?
Sure.
At some point when that's all going on, if it could be, I don't know, just a suggestion, maybe some of the details could be looked at in the committee level and maybe have Sean involved, you know, with presenting more of the details since he's doing the wastewater treatment. Just a thought, maybe that's something that with the Public Works Committee, you know, just,
And that's up to you guys.
you know.
You know, how things have been going here is a little bit, as you guys say, push this down to the committee. You know, for me, I'm so used to going to a committee, then going to you guys as a whole. However you want to do it.
Yeah, just.
I think the best thing would be at committee level though.
It just seems like there might be a lot of details that it
No,
might
there will
be good to hash out at a committee level and then bring the committee's recommendation to the board. I don't oftentimes know what questions to ask when you're here, and I need to go down there and learn more. I'm gonna put that on myself, but just seems like maybe stuff could be hashed out with the committee with Sean present too, since he's been working on it for so long.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like status updates is what you're
Yeah,
saying, like,
yeah.
yeah.
Just a thought.
Oh, there's a lot in very detail. So, yes. The only other thing is, this Saturday, Lucas, he's part of the Eagle Scout. It presented, this started when Carl was here in this position and that. Lucas wanted to know what he could do for a project, and the project was the pergola that is gonna be installed up here on our cement pad back here on our trail. This Saturday, he's planning on actually putting it up. So it's completed, it's in sections. He's gonna be installing it on Saturday, so just FYI,
How big is it?
couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I don't know.
What's a pergola?
Pergola.
Pergola. Pergola.
Pergola?
Like the
pergola?
little things, it's got arms and then the top's got slats so that it,
Oh, okay, okay.
Is that
Light
gonna
comes
be
through.
a problem with
Yeah.
the ground still frozen, or is that? gonna-
No, it should be all right.
It's on the,
It's-
it'll go on the cement.
It's on the cement
Oh,
slab.
I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah.
If you spend time overseas, it's a pagoda.
it's by the clock.
Yeah. Clock.
Yeah.
Good one.
No.
Any other questions for Craig?
I'm gonna start naming off our old farm name, he likes that too, you know.
We'll move to
Yeah.
Chief.
Remember where so-and-so lived 40 years ago? No.
Sorry, I'm watching personal. My report is in the packet, but no, it wasn't, I handed it out, sorry. I was 4 minutes late. Get your name. Tomorrow I'm meeting with emergency management at the Siren. Big Technology is coming in to do a second look at it. This past week, we had, Sheboygan Warning came out and did their annual maintenance on it, and the siren's still failing. If they actually set the siren off at the comm center, it will go off, but it's failing the daily test. So, we're working on it. Sheriff's Department or the Outagamie County is helping, assisting, and paying for people to come and look at it.
Any questions for Chris?
Oh, there's one other thing, I told Jeannie about it, state of Wisconsin, Governor Evers passed a $50,000 for public safety, 19.5 million is gonna be given to, all law enforcement agencies with a minimum of $7,000 to each law enforcement agency. Depending upon population, some like Outagamie County Sheriff's Department's getting 144,000. And then, agencies like Chacton, Black Creek, and Hortonville are all in the $7,000 range, so we get some extra money, we can do what we want with it. That's it.
Any other questions for Chris?
I sent out my information late last night.
Where does
For
that-
your emails.
Where does that money go?
We can use it for technology, we can use it for recruitment and retaining officers. It's just different things that it can be used for within the police department.
Okay.
Community, public safety issues that you have, things like that.
Okay, we will move to D, Library Director.
I did not have a report in the packet, but I did put a quarter sheet on each of your places. The library has partnered with the Senior Activities Committee as well as the Hortonville Historical Society to start up a, like a local history panel type program. We're looking at starting it at once a month. Basically, the premise of it is that people can get together and kind of share and write down some of the history that's in the area. We have a lot of people who like to share their memories, like, oh, remember when we went to this one-room schoolhouse, or remember when this building used to be X, Y, or Z. So we have people who kind of want to get together and just kind of share some of that. So we're starting it in April. It'll be the first meeting, hopefully get that kind of up and running. So.
Any questions for Ally?
It would be nice if you cataloged this in some way, shape, or form, all these
Stories.
remembrances, and maybe add some pictures and put this out in print,
So we have,
in booklet form.
Yeah.
we did have some ideas on future meetings, like bring a recipe that your family has had in the family for generations. And maybe doing a local book of recipes. We've thought, I purchased composition notebooks for people to write their stuff down. And with their permission, we can always put that into a larger project to do that. Some libraries have a program kind of like a human library where you can check out a person for an hour.
I love that, actually. I read into that. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, you can
Check
check out
out
a person for
a couple
an hour.
hours.
Yeah, and just kind of talk with them. And I did that in high school where we had to talk to World War II veterans in EMA, and it was the most eye-opening thing for a high schooler to talk to a World War II vet at that time. So it's something that libraries are really trying to get behind and kind of preserve some of that history, because World War II veterans are not sticking around as long as we would hope. So I agree, finding a way of kind of cataloging some of that and making it more of a long-term project.
I can give you the history on the bars. Because there was, no, seriously, there was just a question on Facebook. So my husband and I sat down and I have a whole list of who owned this, each one. I can get it for you.
Yeah.
Come to the group.
Yeah, come to the group, and like the
Like,
recipes we
seriously.
were talking about,
Yeah,
everyone
real
bringing
trip,
like a
yeah.
recipe
Yeah.
that was like a family, like something that, you know, like for me, I've got a couple of recipes in my gamut
Yeah.
that I can bring, like Arn's hot beef, but then maybe do like a potluck kind of thing. And so everybody goes home with a booklet of recipes from what was there that day.
Or we
Yeah,
sell
but
them.
you know, would you make
Or we sell
one
them.
booklet of just recipes, or would you intersperse some recipes in this?
That would be
That's a good
1
idea.
month of topic, the next
Oh.
month's topic, and I don't, we had just such a huge,
I
really
think
great
the-
discussion, but to help you report on that, there's a lot of potential here, Peter, and we'd love to see you there.
There are a lot of pictures around too.
How does, I have a question for
Okay.
you separate from that.
Yeah.
How does the Appleton Library issue, do you see any issue with that helping, or,
It is helping.
well, I mean, now that they've
so-
lost, they don't have funding right now, so that's a problem.
Right. So, Grand Chute and Greenville patrons who normally go to Appleton, by coming here, we're hoping that they'll change to using us primarily. And those are the municipalities that we get county reimbursement for.
You're still seeing increased numbers of those
We
users?
are, one lady came back yesterday and she is a spitfire. We're really excited for her to come back every week. So, yeah, we're seeing a lot of Appleton people come in here, and as it gets closer to their temporary closure at this location, we're really hoping to see a lot more people coming out here.
I just wonder what the long-term effects are with their funding problems now, so.
That I don't
I
know
wonder
much
how
about.
we'll benefit from that, that'd be great.
I'm getting an update tomorrow morning at our full system meeting with all 50 libraries, so I'm sure we'll get some insider info at that point.
So, how are you advertising this once a month?
Right now it's on Facebook and we are putting it on our website, but we are handing it out at the library desk. We are also putting it, handing it out to the meal site
Mhm.
so that they can hand it out to people.
Yeah, the people you want to get information from are the older residents, the oldest.
It'll
Right.
be on the senior monthly
You
calendar
get
too.
about 40 of them that come in every week, twice.
Peter, this started,
What?
yeah,
40 what? Senior
Seniors.
citizens?
yeah.
No, you don't. You have 10 if you're lucky.
No, that's,
Not on Tuesdays,
no, that's a
Thursdays.
potluck.
Oh, the potluck, I apologize.
Well, and the
I
card
take that
players
back.
and.
Well, you
we
have the
gotta-
card players in it, we have quite a
filled.
few. Yeah, it's full.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of those card players are from New London Shack
Well, right,
and
right.
And the
Hortonia.
composition books
They're
that
not
she's referencing, we were talking about
Hortonville
doing
residents.
prompts, like asking certain questions.
They may have,
And then they're
They may have
prompted to
some
answer,
ideas
and so
or-
it's a memory book that maybe
Start.
they can share with their own family, or maybe this can be
Right.
digitized
Okay.
into the, yeah. There's a lot of potential.
Thank you,
here.
Ally.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you for,
Share with people.
People
you
dig that,
know.
I mean, I go on the Facebook page, you might be from
Yeah.
Hortonville, but like, I dig that all the time, so.
I am not from Hortonville, but I find it really fascinating listening to the history now
Yeah,
that I've kind of transplanted here.
it's true. Okay, we'll move to E, attorney.
Tough act to follow.
Okay.
We'll have to change
F,
that.
administrator.
I have a report in the packet, as well as, just kind of working on a lot of economic development as of lately. It's kind of been crazy. Other than that, getting our projects set up for the year, with the different departments. We're looking at doing some planters with the library for kids programming and stuff like that.
Did you get as much done as you had hoped for that shutdown day, or more or
So,
less, or?
We got a lot done. We got a lot more of the hard copy folders and stuff, so all the department heads or offices are now,
Cleaner.
yeah, I guess that'd be the way to
Yeah,
do it.
no, it's-
So it's all in the centralized location. The general organization of the digital files is set. There's still tweaks that will have to be done by each person throughout while we move forward. But it definitely was very successful.
Any other questions for Nathan?
Yeah, I do. Nathan, when you were on vacation, we had our last board meeting. I brought up an issue that's been kind of a sore spot in this village for quite some time. It's about a residence or a building on West Main Street, just across the creek, would be the second
Yeah.
building.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, you know what? I think where we left it as a board was to have you work with council
Right.
in addressing it.
Well, I'm
Tell me.
well, as I told you when I was at we stopped in, we just got back from there. Me and Paul are writing up basically a letter that they will have to follow. Once we have our letter written, it's gonna go to legal counsel for review, and then
You
it'll.
know, and the reason I brought it up, I know what we talked about.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah,
I'm getting up there in age, but I do recall that conversation. But I wanted to bring that out so the rest
Right.
of the board members heard it.
correct.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we'll move to G, building permit report, there is none. 11, communication and miscellaneous business, A, Black Otter Lake District News.
We're meeting March 30th, which is a Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So I'll hopefully have more details at the first April meeting.
Okay, we'll move to B, Hortonville Hortonia Fire District News. Jim?
No.
Okay. C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News, it is in the packet. Okay, we'll move to D, Hortonville Civic Association.
Just to mention before that I made about the first annual, actually, I think for this village. Nobody in this village can ever recall, including myself, this village having an Easter egg hunt. So we're gonna have an Easter egg hunt at the Commercial Club Park, April 16th, Saturday, the day before Easter, at 1 p.m. So we're working on that now. We've got 6 bikes that we're going to give away. And we're gonna hide about 2,000 eggs.
Any questions for Peter?
And, no. 2,000, yeah.
And we'll be working on them April 4th.
April 4th, so if anybody wants to volunteer stuffing eggs,
Come over to Pinewood to the community room.
right. Well, we have let me just finish here, 2 age groups, 1 to 4 and 5 to 8. So we figure about hiding about 1,000 eggs. We have no idea, this has never been done here before, so we have no idea how many kids we're looking at. And
So are you gonna limit the number of eggs? Like, when I've always taken to Easter egg hunts places, they say, you know, you get to pick up 6 eggs or whatever, and then, they've, had other prizes, right? So you sign in and you put your name in, you put a piece of paper in, and then they have prizes for everyone. Some are obviously bigger, some are smaller, it's like a raffle.
yeah.
But then you only get so many eggs per kid, and that's the candy, purely candy. And that way you don't have one kid who's got 4,000 eggs and you've
There
got
will be
6.
there will be a limit on the eggs, but we don't know what that limit's going to be yet, because we have no idea how many kids are gonna show up. If you have 500 kids show up for one age group, you can't limit them, you know.
Mhm.
We don't know that. We'll get a better count on this because we're gonna have them pre-registered
I was gonna ask that.
for the drawing for the bikes. The bikes are gonna be drawing, but each egg is gonna have little trinkets in it too,
Okay.
along with the candy. So,
Just curious.
if,
I've
It's
seen
gonna
it
be-
go kinds of crazy ways, right? You got this
Well,
one
I
kid with
know.
42 eggs, and you got one kid that's crying because they got nothing.
and we talked about 2 prize tables too, so if you got an egg that says you want a prize from table A, and your age group is 1 to 4, Jane said we'd have a holy mayhem because of all these kids flocking
Mhm.
to the prize table and grabbing something. It would be hard
Unless
to
you have somebody
control.
man that table.
While you have more than 1 man
Right.
per table.
Right. It'd be like the ticket booth at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, so this is gonna be interesting to see how this turns out.
That's what it is.
And then next year, on Friday night, we're going to have an event for the older kids, which is gonna be at night.
Jello eggs or what?
Uh,
Jello shot eggs or
No,
what?
not jello shots.
How old?
Yeah. You think I'm a big kid.
So anyway, that's it.
Okay. E, Senior Activities Committee.
At our April 7th potluck, Nancy Krieger came. She is the one that organizes all the exercise and health classes for the ADRC. She did a really nice job presenting what the choices are for classes, and I think it will generate some interest in more people signing up for some of the different availabilities. The full committee is meeting on March 24th at 2 o'clock here, and we are having a representative from Rebuilding Together is going to be talking to the group. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that agency, but what they do is they go into homes and upgrade them if they need a ramp, if they need grab bars, if there's repairs needed. So it'll be good information for us to have in the community. And then Ally covered everything. We're so excited about this Hortonville history because it's something we've been talking about for, I don't know, 2 years. So to be working with the library and the Historical Society is great. We had 4 of us from the Senior Activities Committee there, so I think it'll be a good thing, and we thank both of you for being a part of it, for getting it going.
Any questions for Pat? Okay, 12, comments and suggestions from citizens present. There are none. 13, I would need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session, state statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and state statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
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 Okay, we will need 5 minutes to recess to clear the room. 16, any action on matters discussed in closed session? There is none. 17, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are now adjourned.